The series begins in 2077, where actor Cooper Howard is performing at a kid's birthday party for a friend in the Hollywood Hills, while his daughter Janie assists him. After the party moves indoors, there's news of an imminent nuclear attack, which upsets Janie, but her father consoles her. Suddenly, there is a nuclear attack on Los Angeles, which the party crowd mistakes as a flash from the camera. Janie and Cooper notice the growing mushroom cloud, so they escape on horseback, and when the shock waves destroy all the windows of the house, the residents rush toward a bunker, implying that the locals are prepared for this catastrophe. 219 years go by, and people now mostly live underground in vaults. Vault 33 is successfully run by the overseer Hank McClane, and his daughter Lucy has agreed to marry a Vault 32 dweller, Monty. Lucy's cousin Chet, who is in love with her, begrudgingly opens the door that connects the two vaults, and Monty walks in with the chief of Vault 32, Lee Moldover. They get married in the crop field, and Hank gives a toast, announcing that the Earth's environment will be inhabitable within a few years. As it happens, the nuclear attack destroyed the Earth's atmosphere, so the humans that live on the surface are exposed to dangerous levels of radiation and have meager resources. The couple heads to their room while the festivities go on. Lucy notices that Monty is not as civilized as the dwellers of Vault 33, but she overlooks it. In the next scene, Lucy's brother Norm enters Vault 32 and discovers dead crops and a decomposed corpse, prompting him to run back to his vault. Meanwhile, Lucy uses special equipment called Pip-Boy to check her husband's radiation levels, and they are extremely high, indicating that he is actually from the surface. Before she can do anything, Monty attacks and stabs her, but Lucy manages to grab a pitcher that she uses to kill Monty with. Hearing the chaos outside her suite, she heads there and is shocked to see that Vault 32 dwellers are actually raiders from the surface and killing the residents of Vault 33. Lee takes several Vault 33 dwellers hostage and ties a bomb to them, after which he gives Hank the choice to save either his people or himself. He chooses his people, so the raiders seize Hank and take him away. In the next scene, Lucy suggests forming a search party to bring Hank back, but the Vault Council rejects the idea. Norm secretly tells his sister that the council doesn't want Hank to be found, as that would compromise their new authority, so Lucy decides to venture out alone and escapes with the help of Norm and Chet. On the other hand, the members of a military base called the Brotherhood of Steel bully their weakest member, Maximus. Later, his friend Dane brings him to a shed where they admire the T-60 power armor, a robotic armor suit that enhances combat performance. It turns out that a young Maximus was rescued by a Brotherhood knight when his town was destroyed, which is why Maximus aspires to become one. However, he is not selected, unlike Dane, who's promoted to Knight Titus's squire. The next morning, Dane gets severely injured by an exposed razor in his boot, preventing him from the mission.
Elder Cleric Quintus appoints Maximus as Dane's substitute, and he is branded with the initial T on his neck.
Quentin then announces the Brotherhood's mission at hand, to capture a rogue member of the Enclave, Siggy Wilzig, who has a valuable artifact in his possession. Hence, Titus and Maximus fly to the Philly area in a helicarrier. In the next scene, a trio of bounty hunters led by Honcho search for a notorious bounty hunter imprisoned in a fortress owned by Dom Pedro. The hunter is buried alive, and Pedro lets him out every once in a year, cuts off a few pieces, and imprisons him again. Following the IV bags near a grave, they dig up the coffin and a mutated old Cooper Howard emerges from it, having become a ghoul. Honcho asks him to join them in finding Siggy Wilzig and splitting the reward, but the ghoul kills them all and continues the hunt for Siggy alone. In the next episode, we see Enclave scientist Siggy Wilzig, who saves a puppy by falsifying records at the facility and cares for it, tagging it as CX-404. Siggy works on a secret project, a mysterious blue pulsating bead that he injects into his neck, and escapes the Enclave with CX-404, who kills Siggy's co-worker who reported him. Meanwhile, Lucy ventures into the wasteland, marked by ruins and skeletons, and notices a bottle of suicide pills labeled Vault-Tec Plan D. She sets a campfire where she encounters CX-404 and Siggy. While CX-404 kills a rad roach, Siggy advises Lucy to return to the vault, as it is not safe up here, and walks away. On the other hand, Maximus is constantly berated by Knight Titus, and they land near a cave where a mutated bear attacks them. Maximus kills the bear with a precise shot to the head, while Titus is injured. He asks Maximus to help him out of the power armor, but when Maximus removes his helmet, Titus blames the attack on Maximus and starts abusing him. Having had enough of Titus's mistreatment, Maximus lets him bleed out, after which he buries the body and wears the power armor himself, which grants him incredible strength. As the series goes on, Lucy encounters many people, but they are unwilling to give her the whereabouts of Lee since they do not think very highly of people from the vault. After a shop owner named Ma June turns her away, Lucy runs into Siggy and CX-404 again. Siggy asks her to return while she can, after which Ma June welcomes him inside. Just then, the ghoul appears, along with other bounty hunters. It results in a bloodbath where the ghoul kills all the hunters and shoots Siggy's left foot off. Meanwhile, Lucy finds Lee's name in Ma June's ledger, who has been paid to transport Siggy safely out of Philly. Next, Lucy warns the ghoul to stop, but when he doesn't, she shoots him with her tranquilizer gun. He laughs as he plucks the dart out, as it does not affect him. Just as he is about to shoot her, Maximus arrives and hurls the ghoul away. This gives Lucy enough time to escape with Siggy, while an injured CX-404 is left behind. The ghoul causes Maximus's armor to malfunction, and he lands in a nearby junkyard. Hearing the whines of CX-404, the ghoul heals her with a stim pack loaded with a healing elixir. As she starts tracing her master's scent, the ghoul follows her. On the other hand, Lucy and Siggy seek shelter in a crashed Russian satellite, where Siggy ingests a cyanide Plan D pill since he knows he'd bleed out, and asks Lucy to take his head to Lee in exchange for Hank. He calls her Miss McLean, which surprises Lucy, but he dies shortly, after which Lucy beheads him as per his words. In the next episode, Maximus takes on the identity of Titus, and the Brotherhood sends a new squire. Maximus tries to find a local mechanic and gives up a tooth to pay him as he fixes his suit. When some scavengers try to steal the suit, Maximus uses the suit's power to crush one of them, scaring the others away. Thaddeus arrives as the new squire, begs for his life, and promises loyalty to Titus, whom he doesn't know is Maximus. Maximus decides to make Thaddeus his manservant, as Thaddeus is his worst bully at the base. Meanwhile, Lucy travels with Siggy's head, and when she notices the blue bead, she touches it, but receives an electric shock. Just to be safe, she inserts a tracking chip inside it. Later, a giant salamander called Gulper swallows Siggy's head. On the other hand, the ghoul reaches Siggy's headless body and injects himself with a chemical that keeps him from turning into a feral ghoul. Following CX-404, he finds his way to Lucy and uses her as bait to lure the Gulper, but ends up losing the chemicals that sustain his health. Frustrated, he takes Lucy hostage and leaves CX-404 behind. Meanwhile, Maximus and Thaddeus come across Siggy's body and assume that the ghoul did this, implying that the head is what they need to procure. They manage to find their way to the Gulper and retrieve the head, after which they bring along CX-404 too. In a flashback, we see that Cooper became the spokesperson for Vault-Tec at the behest of his wife, a top executive. Back to the present, Chet and Norm are reassigned duties as punishment for letting Lucy escape. In Vault 33, Norm realizes that the dwellers of Vault 32 died 2 years ago, and someone betrayed them by using his late mother Rose's Pip-Boy to allow the raiders inside. On the other hand, the ghoul runs into his old friend, Roger, who is about to become feral, so he kills and eats him in front of Lucy. In an abandoned supermarket, he sells Lucy to organ harvesters in return for some chemicals, but passes out instantly. Lucy fights the harvesters as they try to open her up, and in doing so, she frees the feral ghouls held captive by harvesters. They attack her and the harvesters, so Lucy is forced to kill for the first time in her life. She grabs the chemicals and gives them to the ghoul before escaping the supermarket. In the next scene, Maximus reveals his identity to Thaddeus, who destroys the power armor and leaves with CX-404 and Siggy's head. Maximus encounters Lucy, and they team up to retrieve the head. They get to a destroyed Shady Sands, a city that survived the nuclear attack and was also Maximus's hometown. There, a cannibalistic creature attacks and injures Maximus, and while the two look for medical supplies in a Vault-Tec building, they end up falling into Vault 4. On the other hand, the new leader of Vault 33, Betty Pearson, orders Vault 32 to be inhabited once the deceased dwellers are removed. Norm hacks the Vault's computer and learns that both Vault 32 and 33 dwellers actually came from Vault 31, including Hank. Meanwhile, a Shady Sands survivor, Birdie, and Benjamin, the overseer of Vault 4, welcome Maximus and Lucy, telling them that they have opened the vault to the surface. While this is new for Maximus, Lucy looks around in horror as she notices that the dwellers worship Lee Moldaver as the Flame Mother. Lucy is convinced that something's wrong, and she escapes to the forbidden 12th floor, where she discovers human experiments. She is caught by the authorities, and they explain to her that the dwellers of Vault 4 rebelled against the scientists, and now they live in peace. As the Vault dwellers decide to expel Lucy, Maximus leaves with her too, and Lucy invites him to live with her in Vault 33 when they are done. On the other hand, the ghoul wakes up, only to find himself captured by an armed group of men as a result of his past crimes. So he takes time to heal, and once he feels himself, he kills them all. In a flashback, Cooper is upset over Barb's connections in the Vault-Tec, and he goes to a secret meeting presided by a young Lee Moldaver to discuss the ulterior motives behind Vault-Tec. Then known as Miss Williams, she tells Cooper that he can't trust his wife and that he must record her meetings with the company board, as the war-profiting company rejected her cold fusion theory, which could provide unlimited energy and prevent the war with China. Moving on, Lucy and Maximus run into Thaddeus, who abandoned CX-404 a while ago and has become a ghoul. Since the Brotherhood has zero tolerance for ghouls and instantly kills them, he gives up the head to Lucy, who continues her journey, while Maximus stays back. He takes the head of a nearby goon and roughs it up as a decoy for the Brotherhood, who track him down via a radio station and bring him to Philly. Elder Cleric Quintus figures out that the head is not Siggy's, so he sentences Maximus to his death. Dane pleads to let him go, and later Quintus expresses his dislike for how things are managed at the Brotherhood. He decides to find the head and asks Maximus to fight beside him against Moldaver's forces. On the other hand, Lucy reaches the Griffith Observatory and finally meets Lee Moldaver, who extracts the artifact from the head Lucy gave her. When Lucy demands Hank to be released from the cage he is in, Moldaver tells her the truth about her father. Hank was one of the junior executives cryogenically frozen in Vault 31, and each one was unfrozen over time to indoctrinate Vaults 32 and 33 to make sure nothing challenges Vault-Tec's authority and future return to the surface. Lucy's mother, Rose, had figured out about Hank's past, so she escaped to Shady Sands with Lucy and Norm to raise them there, since humanity could survive on the surface. However, Hank tracked her down and took the kids away, after which he destroyed the Shady Sands with a warhead, which ended up turning Rose into a ghoul. On the other hand, Norm breaks into Vault 31 and also learns about the reason behind the war. He sees firsthand that Vault 31 harbors the cryogenically stored junior executives of Vault-Tec, overseen by Bud, who is now a brain-on-wheels cyborg. He shows up and entraps Norm in the vault. Meanwhile, the ghoul comes across the abandoned CX-404 and renames her Dogmeat, after which he makes his way toward Moldaver as he has managed to track her location. In the ghoul's flashback, we learn that Barb and Bud Askins, her colleague, were discussing starting a nuclear war purposefully for Vault-Tec, so its competitors could perish. In the next scene, Lucy pleads with her father to give up the codes that Moldaver needs to activate the artifact. Hank reluctantly obliges, and Moldaver quickly unlocks the artifact and starts working on a makeshift cold fusion reactor. In the next scene, Maximus and the brothers reach the observatory. Maximus frees Hank when he sees him engaged, but he learns it was Hank who destroyed his hometown, Shady Sands. He attacks Hank, who steals the suit of a fallen brother. In this commotion, Maximus hits his head on the telescope and passes out. Lucy is shocked at her father's past and actions, and just before she can kill him, the ghoul appears and injures Hank with a gunshot. Hank uses the power armor to jet himself away, and since the ghoul believes his family is still out there somewhere, he invites Lucy to travel with him and Dogmeat so they can find other Vault-Tec leaders. Since Lucy wants revenge, she agrees, kills her feral ghoulish mother and leaves with the ghoul. In the end, Moldaver uses her cold fusion reactor to power Los Angeles, after which she succumbs to her wounds. Maximus wakes up near Moldaver and Dane assumes he killed her, so he is hailed as Knight Maximus by the Brotherhood soldiers. With that, the movie ends. Thanks for watching Fallout Season 1. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time. Welcome, sci-fi fans. Futurist Flicks is thrilled to launch our exclusive membership program designed for loyal fans like you. By joining, you'll unlock early access to recap videos, unseen recap videos, raffle prizes, free merch giveaways, exclusive content and behind-the-scenes insights, access to community events, live streams, and Q&A sessions. Join the Cosmic Crew today and get instant access to exclusive perks. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more intergalactic adventures.